elect angels worship and serve God, while also having a role in the world that the Lord created. Number 1. When David, full of pride, counted the members of his army, an angel came and smote down his people as a judgment. We learn from 1 Chronicles 21 verse 1 that Satan moved David to do this. Satan precipitated it. David performed it. Job, David's military leader, exercised better judgment than the monarch did when he was given the order to start counting when the king instructed him to do so. When he learned that David's pride was the driving force behind the census, he tried to convince the king to abandon the plan, but his efforts were in vain. Obedient to David, Job and his men went throughout the land, numbering the people. They found 800,000 soldiers in Israel and 500,000 in Judah. Following the completion of the census, the king was confronted with the knowledge of his wrongdoing and beseeched the Lord to forgive him. God confronted him through the prophet Gad and gave him the option of accepting any one of the following 3 punishments. 1. 3 months of pursuit by his adversaries. 2. 7 years of famine in the land. Or 3 days of pestilence or plague. David made the decision to give himself up into the hands of the Lord rather than into the hands of man. The Lord dispatched a plague that lasted for 3 days and claimed the lives of 70,000 men. When the angels of destruction arrived at the threshing floor in Urana, God intervened and prevented him from destroying the city of Jerusalem, also called Ornan. David asked the Lord why he was destroying the people of Israel when it was David and his house who were guilty. God's reply given through Gad was for David to build an altar on the threshing floor of Urana. So David the king immediately began to arrange with Urana the Jebusite for the purchase of the site. Although he was a Gentile, Urana offered not only the threshing floor without charge, but also oxen for sacrifices and the threshing implements for firewood. The king's noble answer was, "Nor will I offer burnt offerings to the Lord my God with that which costs me nothing." Finally, David bought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. The plague stopped when burnt offerings were offered on the altar. In the major prophets, Isaiah makes 2 references to the angel of Jehovah as defending Israel and defeating her enemies. Number 2. 185,000 Assyrian soldiers were against the people of the Lord. The Lord ensures Hezekiah that the king of Assyria will not enter Jerusalem or get near enough to strike it. God will defend the city and send back the invader the way he came. Isaiah 37 verse 36. And the angel of the Lord went out and struck 185,000 in the camp of the Assyrians. And when the surviving men got up early the next morning, they saw all the dead. Although neither Jeremiah nor Ezekiel ever used the term angel, Ezekiel does refer to the cherubim. Number 3. Ezekiel saw a vision of the cherubim. Ezekiel 10 verse 2. And the Lord spoke to the man, 7th angel, clothed in linen, and said, "Go between the whirling wheels under the cherubim. Fill your hands with coals of fire from between the cherubim and scatter them over the city." And he entered as I watched. Number 4. Angels intervened in the record of Daniel to deliver the Hebrew children from the fiery furnace and Daniel from the mouths of lions. Daniel 3 verse 28. Nebuchadnezzar responded and said, "Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who sent his angel and rescued his servants who believed in, trusted in, and relied on him." They violated the king's command and surrendered their bodies rather than serve or worship any god except their own God. Daniel 6 verse 22, Amplified Bible. My God has sent his angel and shut the mouths of the lions so that they have not hurt me, because I was found innocent before him, and also before you, O king. I have committed no crime. Gabriel, who subsequently appears in Luke chapter 1, makes his first appearance in the book of Daniel and reveals the destiny of Israel to him. Daniel 9 verses 20 to 22, Amplified Bible. While I was speaking and praying and confessing my sin and the sin of my people Israel, and presenting my supplication before the Lord my God in behalf of the holy mountain of my God, while I was still speaking in prayer and extremely exhausted, the man Gabriel, whom I had seen in the earlier vision, came to me about the time of the evening sacrifice. He instructed me, and he talked with me and said, "O Daniel, I have now come to give you insight and wisdom and understanding." Jude identifies Michael, the archangel, as one of the chief princes, and he serves as Israel's primary protector against both human people and other angelic creatures. This defense role is described in Jude 9. Daniel 10, verse 13. But the prince of the kingdom of Persia was standing in opposition to me for 21 days. Then, behold, Michael, one of the chief of the celestial princes, came to help me, for I had been left there with the kings of Persia. Number 5. In the books of the minor prophets, the prophet Hosea reveals that the man that wrestled with Jacob, Genesis 32, was actually an angel. The book of Zechariah has 20 different uses of the word angel, contributing significantly to the development of the theology of angels found in the Old Testament. He sees angels as the agents of God's action and judgment, as well as translators of God's vision for Zechariah. He also sees angels as God's reconnaissance agents. It is believed that the angel of Jehovah is the personal representative of Jehovah, or possibly Jehovah himself, and that he or she intercedes on behalf of the people of God. Job and Psalms contribute to our knowledge of good and evil angels. Number 6. We are told of a scene in heaven when the sons of God, angels, appeared before the Lord. Satan was also present. When God spoke to Satan regarding the uprightness of his servant Job, Satan suggested that Job feared God because he had been so good to him. According to Satan, if the Lord had not put a protective hedge around Job, then he would have cursed his Creator to his face. Job 1 verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of God, angels, came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan, adversary, accuser, also came among them. Number 7. The Psalms portray angels as guarding and rescuing God's people from danger in various situations. Psalm 78, verse 49. He sent upon them his burning anger, his fury, and indignation and distress, a band of angels of destruction among them. The Psalms portray angels as guarding and rescuing God's people from danger in various situations. Psalm 34 verse 7. The angel of the Lord encamps around those who fear him, with awe-inspired reverence and worship him with obedience, and he rescues each of them. Psalm 91 verse 11. For he will command his angels in regard to you, to protect and defend and guard you in all your ways of obedience and service.